Alright, we're live. Hey, this is Jerry Diamond with How to Get Out of Babylon. It is Diamond's log, as I say, ARC date 2015-3-7. And I'm going to do a couple readings here real quick. I have not finished my book. I want to get that done. I'm going to get one chapter done at least, and then I want to do a section out of John Ringo, The Last Centurion. It has a lot of practical information. And I'm going to start with my book, get that done. The next chapter. 3 more chapters left. Alright. Here we go. A lot of things are happening. A lot of things are changing. People are moving. Things are changing, people. And I'm going to read something today that I'm going to point out that I wrote in the year 2000. Actually, I want to say this. This book got written. I didn't know how to type. I still don't know how to type. I just hunt and peck, peck one letter at a time. But I had gotten a micro cassette recorder in Colorado at a pawn shop, and I had notes. I read those notes onto micro cassette recorder, and a friend transcribed that with the I had a micro cassette recorder transcriber, foot operated pedal, headset. So the gal sat there and typed and rewound, typed and backed up. And I've noticed even in this one today, I corrected some things, that were mistakes. She heard it and didn't know what the word was and what the combination of words were, and so just put in whatever she said, and I didn't catch it when I put it into print. So it's been in print for 15 years now with a lot of typos and a lot of goofy stuff, and it sounds like I'm talking, and that's the reason why it sounds like I'm talking, because I was just talking. So kind of like a live sermon type thing, or a live speech. That's basically what this is. And there's a lot of living force to it. Oh, by the way, things are coming true. I mean, I saw something today in this that I pointed out before, but I'm trying to do this with no commentary. I get to doing commentary. This thing is going to be like hundreds of sections, because it's living. It's living. I spoke it, living word. It's being brought into existence. At one point I said we need to write this, we need to speak it, we need to put it out there, speak it into existence. That is happening as I speak, continuing to happen. So, very awesome, very powerful. We are created in the image of God, and that means the word image means to image, to do the work of, to go in the office. Don't be like certain people and put your feet up and disgrace the office by putting your feet on the desk, that a certain nameless individual has done. But, go in the office, do the work of. God is a creator God, and we're to create. And I'm creating as I speak. I am creating an Ozark Plateau that is going to be safe and sound. And my wife has been at odds with me on several issues. And I just say this. Well, anyway, the song Safe and Sound, the second I heard that song by Taylor Swift from Hunger Games, it's like, that's my wife's song. And someday I'll sing it to her, hopefully, when she wakes up out of the daze that she's in. Anyway, Section 6, How to Get Out of Babylon. Construction, store, material. Make sure that thing is off. That was noisy. Okay, the computer's noisy enough. Section 6, How to Get Out of Babylon, Construction Material Store, Thrift Store. That is not going to work. Alright, I'm going to go big screen. Bam. Just to make this easier on me. I'll trust that if I don't move too much, I'll be in the thing. Okay, so what happened was, to recount a little bit, I had this picture in my mind of this young couple, or young family coming through the woods. Husband, wife, and one child holding each of their hands. And seeing this home, and this home was theirs. So that broke me up, and my mind went into hyperdrive, or light speed, or whatever you want to call it. And for 3 days, virtually nonstop, ideas were going through my mind. One of the things that we already had an idea of with a man at a church near us was a salvation storage area. Salvage storage area. This church has what they call a quarter store. It's a thrift store, and everything in it is a quarter. You can go in and find a $200 suit, maybe a $500 suit for a quarter for each article of clothing. So I came up with the idea of a salvage thrift storage yard. This man had done that. He'd salvaged hundreds and thousands of dollars of stuff from construction sites. When you go into construction sites, there are tons and tons of construction material that's thrown away. Used to be. No comment. Let's stock it up. So in different areas, in different counties, we've got within an hour or two drive, let's say, you have a storage area, storage yard for salvage, and it's a bishop storehouse, Mormon term. Love it. All things in common. If you need something, you come in and get it. You might pay $1, maybe $10 for something, so you have that idea. You have people doing that. So, okay, there's going to be somebody running that yard, taking care of it, supervising it. Maybe it's on somebody's property, their property, where they can keep an eye on it. This has come true on my property. My son-in-law grew up with a vision and a dream of building, and he would ride his bicycle down to construction. I'm sorry, I'm going to comment. He would ride his bicycle down to construction yards, and the workers would give him nails, and he would tie stacks of wood on his little bicycle and go home. And he would build things, build tree houses, and fall out of tree houses, and he's still alive, thank heavens. So anyway, you have people that are out doing construction, gathering these materials, and he's still doing it, is the point. He's going to, construction materials, scrap metal yards, and he collects material and brings it here and builds stuff and sells it, and it's there, right on my own property. Just awesome. Awesome. The commercial dumpsters that are 20-ton capacity, the big green or purple dumpsters, go to construction sites and are filled with wood and lots of good stuff in them. That stuff can be salvaged and brought to the yard. So this is a package deal where everybody can do something. A working example is all the Habitat for Humanity stores around. I will work for housing, next section. There's a job for virtually everybody, and here's the deal. As people participate, they can have a home built for them. In other words, we can run an ad in the big papers in the areas where we want to do this. You may qualify for a free home. People respond and say, how can I qualify for a free home? Well, help us out. You can tithe to this ministry, this organization, send money. Let's set the value of one of these homes at $10,000, since that should cover the value of 10 acres. We can trade on a larger parcel. We could still do that, but, $1,500. So we can trade a home for a garage or a barn or an office. What about youth groups? Let's say they want a retreat center. Let's say they have land where those can be built on, so we set aside some homes on the property. Let's say the church has 500 acres. We set aside 50 acres as home sites, which is enough for 5 homes. Then we build a retreat center there. A family that has property for trade for the land will build them another home there, and they could run a bed and breakfast. Or let's say they have in-laws come quite often. They can have a separate home for the in-laws, so the in-laws wouldn't have to be encroaching on their personal territory or personal space. There are endless possibilities. Youth camps, seminars. Why not build a home for and have a home paid for your children? This is a great motivation. Let's say a young man is 15 years old, so he has 5 years to have a home built for him. I think $10,000 to $12,000 on an alternative home is a reasonable amount, so that if someone has land or he or she has the money. One gentleman I know is an air traffic controller, so he has money to pay for a home perhaps. Someone who works a good job and they don't have the time or ability to build a home. Maybe they're a little older and they don't have the manpower, So a small construction company could go around and oversee the building of homes at a retail value of $10,000 to $12,000. Now, every 10th home they build, they tithe a home to the system, the Eagle's Wings program, where that home is set aside for people to come home to the area to live in. So there are a lot of applications there. So what are the different positions that need to be filled? Obviously, a system would need to be set up to take care of money. A treasurer, maybe a treasurer or a board, someone who is trustworthy is needed. In the book of Acts, in the New Testament book of Acts, people sold land, and what did they do with the money? They laid it at the apostles' feet. The apostles were trustworthy men. So the bishop's storehouse concept is that these are trustworthy men. The money can be brought in and deposited, and somebody needs to keep track of that, so you need a treasurer, an accountant. At this point, I would like to touch on the Amish practice of the fundraising person. Why not have someone who would go around and collect money for the program? We desperately need, at this late hour, motivational speakers. We need a lot of these people. We need speakers who will tell the truth about the future and who will pleadingly convince people to get out of the cities, out of Babylon. We need apostolic speakers who will convince people to invest in the kingdom of God instead of a 401k or a new Cadillac or a bigger condo or a mansion. They need to speak in the cities as well as going to different communities. Webmasters, web designers, people that could put up a website for this is one thing I want to get done. Put it on the internet. There are websites already in existence that have to do with communities. They list quite a few. There's one website in particular that's kind of nuclear-oriented, survival-oriented. Bruce Beach is in Canada, out of Canada. The man that does the website built the largest survival shelter in the world. They concrete reinforced. They had anyway. They concrete reinforced with scooped out. They scooped out with earth movers, scooped out enough dirt to then bury it in concrete with a concrete roof over. This is a mess. I think it was 40 school buses, so that turned into a very large bomb shelter. So he lists quite a few retreats or communities in Missouri, northeastern Oklahoma, southeast Kansas, northwest Arkansas. So there's the aspect of a fundraiser, webmasters, accountant, treasurer, salvage gatherer, salvage storage area caretakers or super overseers. Small construction companies are needed that can go around and build the homes. The list goes on and on. We need people to haul materials, equipment operators, salvage people, salvage operators, management, and promotions. We must have people that advertise and get the idea out there. We need to go to churches and speak. We need sales representatives. It needs to be sold. It's an idea that people need to hear. It's like you need to hear preaching. You need to have it spoken to you from the Lord. Apologize. I hit the mouse. I had it on auto scroll. Amish practice, Babylon, big cities, different communities, web designers, concrete reinforced, fundraisers, small construction companies. Small construction companies are needed that can go around and build the homes. The list goes on and on. We need people to haul materials, equipment operators, salvage people, salvage operators, management and promotions. We must have people that advertise and get the idea out there. Repeat. It's like the old black preacher said, first I tells them what I'm going to tell them, then I tells them, and then I tells them what I told them. So we need to go to churches and speak. We need sales representatives. It needs to be sold. It's an idea that people need to hear. It's like you need to hear preaching. You need to have it spoken to you from the Lord. Well, I'm speaking it out to the world from the Lord, and I command angels to go out and make this happen. I don't need the glasses on. It has to happen. It's going to happen. It is happening, and it's going to continue to happen, and it's going to continue to happen in an ever more powerful and increasing situation. Last weekend I went to a conference, and there were people there from all over the country. One patriarch, multimillionaire, probably been traveling the country for 20 years in an RV with his wife, just living life to the fullest, and he put the word out to his entire family across the country. He says, you need to get to this meeting because our children and our grandchildren need to find spouses, good people. And there were people there from all over the country. I would grab a person, I would talk to them, I would literally almost grab them and sit them down and give them my little spiel, my sales talk. And one guy from Oregon said, I think I need to move. And a man from Indiana, land there is $12,000 an acre, and here it's $1,200, $12,000 to $15,000 there, and $12,000 to $1,500 here. He said, I can sell my 100-acre farm and come out there and buy 1,000 acres of good people. It's happening. It is happening. It is happening. Pray, pray, pray for this situation. We have the ability to command angels, tell them what to do. Every day they report in and go, reporting for duty, sir. What did you do today? Nothing. Why? Because nobody commanded me. Nobody gave me anything to do. And I credit Bo Greitz with that. He said that one time, and I mean, that burned into my heart and soul, and I've been doing that. And just this week, sorry for the commentary, I met with Galen Chadwick, Wellford Neighbor Association, and we are beginning the Farm Resettlement Congress. In the next 20 years, $200 billion in land will change hands, and a lot of it would go to the state, to go to conservation areas where you can't do anything except maybe hunt on it. You can't plant anything. You can't grow anything. It belongs to the government. Well, we need to change that. All these older farmers with no heirs, their land goes to I don't know, auction, and a lot of times it's just dumped. A property near us that was worth, the real estate agent conservatively estimated it at 150. I would say more like $200,000 went to auction. 40 acres. When he started telling me, I said, I have a lady come out here that wants to buy a farm for 50,000. She's got 50,000. He just started going, oh, yeah. I said, what? He said, man, there was a property here. I just described it. He said it went to auction, and the brother that inherited it, or was the executor of the will, just wanted to dump it. He wanted out of the situation. Sold for $50,000. 40-acre farm, $75,000 in another county, Barton County. The people just wanted to sell it. They did not want to sign up. They did not want the neighbors to know. They didn't want people complaining that they were leaving. Maybe they wanted to go visit the kids. Maybe they were going to go travel the country like this other couple. RV, and I don't know. They did not want to sign up. They did not want a real estate agent there. They didn't want somebody come over and looking at it. They just wanted to dump it. That entire farm was picture perfect. You could take pictures of the hay bales and put them under glass and decorate. The fence, the pond, spring-fed, sparkling pond right out in front of the house. The house on the inside, the house on the outside, the barn, everything. You could literally take a professional photograph, put it, frame it, and put it under glass, and put it in your wall, and hang it, and decorate your house with it. That thing sold for $75,000, 40-acre farm. A guy was on his way up from New Jersey to see me. He's been out here 5 times. He's here now. He's buying a property which is literally 400 yards from the corner of my property. And he was on his way out, and he's the one that found that property. And I said, buy it now, buy it right now. I got a hold of the real estate agent. She gave me the story, and 2 days later it was sold off the market. So, sorry for the commentary. I don't apologize, whatever. It's exciting. It's exciting. It's exciting. It's exciting. It's exciting. It's exciting. Wake up. Help out. Man, it's going to go into hyperdrive here. Like I said, my mind went into this is I'm seeing this happen. We need people to get here with their resources, with their family, and be part of the solution rather than wait and lose part of their family and lose part of their resources and be part of the problem. Show up with the shirt on their back instead of $1 million worth of goods. All right. Types of acceptable energy efficient homes. We know for a fact through our business, Y2K Business, Pilgrim's Products. You can still look it up online. The Angel Fire website, amazingly, is still up. We sold wood stoves. We sold British Brookfeld water filters. We sold shaky flashlights, Night Star flashlights. We sold about 200 products by the end of the year. We came in within one sale of being the top sales company in the entire country. That went from start to finish in December of 2008 to Y2K tailing out. We sold more stoves during that year than anybody in the country except for Cabela's catalog, and we only missed them by one single solitary sale. It was a wild year. And the only reason we lost to them was because a guy would follow us around to some of our shows, and he would let us, we spent $600 at the thing to buy a table, and travel expenses, motel, food, wear and tear on our family. We had a miscarriage because of the whole thing. Lost an 8-month-old, 8-pound son. Anyway, this guy would follow us around, and we'd do our spiel, and he'd walk up and pull Cabela's catalog out of his pocket, and people would buy it from Cabela's. So they probably got 10 sales from our work. Ended up kind of getting shafted on the whole deal, but anyway, water under the bridge. Shemitah, let it go. Number one song of 2014 went neck and neck right down to the wire between Taylor Swift, that kind of a grody, stupid song, and Let It Go from Frozen. That's the message. 2014, September 2014 to September 2015 is a Shemitah year. Shemitah. It looks like Shemitah, Shemitah, however you want to say it. 7th year land Sabbath. And if you do not forgive this year, if you do not let it go this year, that's the message, you will be let go. It's a gradual thing. Every 7 years, our nation came up every 7 years. World War I, World War II. I've talked about it before in another video, but watch the Shemitah video. The Harbinger. Man. And we're going down on Shemitah years, and this is a Shemitah year, people. This country is going down. I think the whole world economy is going down. May not be right on the nose, but I would put my money on, I would actually put a lot of money on the fact that it'll happen to the 2nd, September 13th, 2015. Because it happened between 2001 to 2008, it happened to the 2nd collapse, the biggest collapse in history, every 7th year. And what was the message? What was the stock market collapse? How much did the stock market fall in one day? 777.777 points. You think that was handwriting on the wall? Yeah. Many tekulu parson. You've been weighed in the balances and found wanting, and we have been weighed in the balances and found wanting, and we are going down. Get ready for it. Move if you have to. Move if you can. Move immediately. Walk away from stuff. I mean, they're millstones. Your house is a millstone. If it's not paid for, you can't. If it's not paid for, it's a millstone. If you're in a big city, there's no reason to be there. It is whatever's holding you there is a millstone. And it will drag you down to the bottom, and it will be the death of you and your family. Get out now. That's the call. Angels, take this message out and bring people here. Oh, I was talking earlier. I met with Galen Chadwick, Well-Fed Neighbor Alliance. We're planning on Farm Resettlement Congress, and having our motto is, best defense in hard times is a well-fed neighbor. And this, I've like I said, I've told angels go out and bring people here, and oh my gosh, he met this lady at this meeting, and she said, I was in Texas. I lived in Texas, and I had a dream, and a map came to me, and I came here, and she's growing food, and she's like this, with like a serving spoon size. She goes, and I'm under my house. I'm digging a root cellar for the food for God's people. Get a clue, people. If an 80-year-old woman can come here and dig a root cellar with a teaspoon, damn it, get your ass here. There's a lot. Carpenters, obviously, metal workers, just any number of things, and that list can go on and on. The types of buildings that could be built would be, like I mentioned before, even tornado shelters. Somebody may want an office building built, a barn, a garage, a workshop, a classroom, a school, for a school or a church. Even a homeschooling family might want a separate office built. So there's a lot of different ways to go with that. At this point, we need to talk about the type of structures that I would see being necessary. Necessary means affordable and efficient, energy efficient and affordable and quickly constructed. Cob, cordwood, underground, earth bag, earth ship, compressed earth block, CEB, rammed earth, etc. What we're looking at is a combination of several earth-sheltered, earth-friendly designs. Cob is a mixture of sand, clay, and straw. The word means round mass. You are making a giant mud daub house, like a mud daub wasp. They go and take a little bit of mud, and they make and they take a little mud, and you can make them any shape and size. I was just out in the shed the other day, and we got mud daubs everywhere around here. And some of them are like a little round, looks like a beehive, igloo. Others, sometimes they make them like, for whatever reason, and they put their larvae in there. That's where they put their babies, as it were. Typically, they seem to have standardized on 18-inch thick walls. Cob, generally, they go like 2 to 3 feet, 3 feet really, 3 feet tapering to 2.5 feet. With cord, we take pieces of firewood, basically 18 inches long, and you see the sawed piece. Hang on one sec here. Half an hour. I got half an hour. With cordwood, you take pieces of firewood, basically 18 inches long. You see the sawed piece of wood on the inside and outside. There's usually 5 inches of mortar on the outside and 5 inches on the inside. And the interior is filled with sawdust and lime to prevent infestation of insects. You can use the cob mixture as the mortar. Then you're not paying for cement, as I mentioned earlier. You have an 18-inch thick wall, it would go up a lot faster. Cob takes time to dry. If you can imagine 18 inches of mud, basically it takes an incredibly long time to dry. And when it's 3 feet, it takes longer. In other words, you put up a course of, say, 6 to 8 inches of cob, it may be a week before that's really totally dry. You can put up a course of cob a day, so you can put up an 8-foot wall in 8 days. But it cracks, and it's just how it happens. But still, it's a lot of mass there. Cordwood, you can keep going around and around the building, and you can continue to work. It dries a lot quicker. In fact, they put soaking wet sawdust in their mortar to keep it from drying out too fast and cracking. So I see a combination of that. The earth is my insurance. My home is covered by it. Earth roof. There's another type of earth-sheltered home. Mike Ayler wrote a book, The $50 and Up Underground Home. In 1971, he built himself an underground house that he says cost him $50 in materials. It was the cost of the polyethylene, the roll of polyethylene. That's the only thing he spent money on. Later on, he did a $500 palatial addition, and he's still living in this home 30 years later. He's since built another house up on a ridge in Idaho, but hey, he lived in this house for 30 years. So he fairly well brainstormed it, just perfected it, as has Rob Roy with cordwood, and Yanto Evans and Linda Smiley and Michael, whatever his name is, with the cob. There's different people that have done cob. There's mud girls. Look up the website, Mud Girls. Have done cob, and different people that have done cordwood, but they've been perfected. They know how to do the roofs. They do earth-sheltered roofs, a lot of them. Rob Roy tends to do, with the cordwood, 12 inches of dirt on the roof because he's looking at it as just thermal insulation, whereas Mike Ayler is looking at it as nuclear radiation insulation and protection, so Ayler tends to go for 3 to 4 feet of dirt. So looking at a combination would be an actual idea for a home. Mike Ayler uses what is called post-shoring polyethylene, PSP for short. So if you can picture earth-sheltered homes where basically the front of it is accessible to the south, and that's kind of what we're looking at. 50 to 90% being earth-sheltered depending on the conditions and the time, terrain, and everything else. But what we're looking for is a great deal of the house to be earth-sheltered. So how do you do that? Well, in a recent issue of Backwoods Home, there was an article about earth-sheltered homes, and these earth-sheltered homes that were featured were done by Davis Caves. I think they're in Iowa or Nebraska. It's a company that does underground homes. They're doing concrete, steel-reinforced concrete. Mike Ayler calls these people concrete terrorists. You're building a temporarily permanent structure. He says you end up with steel-reinforced concrete, so you end up living in a Faraday cage. There are radiations, frequencies throughout the universe that the human body was created to absorb. Now, I want to point out something here. This was in the year 2000, okay? And I'm going to have to minimize so I can see the screen here. What I'm wearing, and I've talked about this before, but I am wearing a shirt that was finally, after 5 years of what do you call service, working. Golly, where is it? Oh, it's over there. On the other side. Aha, sorry. I am sorry. Try to slow it down there. So I don't get seasick. Tuning element. And I got lint on this thing. Right it. Tuning element. Okay. So finally got, something to show for my 5 years of, every week. But here's my point is, in the year 2000, I wrote that about Faraday cage, and I knew about earth frequencies, Schumann resonances. This is a pendant. Now, I bought this on eBay, and it's a lapis lazuli organite device. It has, stones in it. It has, I don't know if you can, that does not show well at all on my screen. Hopefully, I don't know if it's going to show any better. That really is cruddy. Maybe a bit of light on the side. I don't know. Anyway, there's a coil in there. There's a crystal. There's different things in there. And I imprinted that. I can imprint that with frequency, Faraday, Earth, Schumann resonances. Okay. And so this year 2000, I knew that, and I actually made organite devices and imprinted them with frequency in the year 2004. Let me call you back. All right. So in 2004, I started imprinting them. And so, this goes back. Some of the things that I cracked the code on and this whole thing went back to 3rd grade. I was reading, I might have told you that already, but, 3rd grade, chemistry, physics. So just another little aside here. After 5 years of marketing my invention and taking trips around the planet, I mean, South America and Germany and Africa. Well, I've sat at home. I haven't taken anything. I have sat at home and I have done nothing but work. So my invention, my partner's always driven a whatever the heck it is, it's a $60,000 SUV. I'm driving a van that was literally given to us by a very good friend, a very dear friend. Still driving it. It's always run on 5 cylinders, not 6. It's supposed to have 6, but it's, So we're driving beat-up cars. And so after 5 years of this, I have been informed that I'm nothing more than an employee, and he's going to fire me. And he's been completely and totally incommunicado for about 3 weeks since we went to the BioWell seminar in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So just putting that out to the world, to the universe, to God, to angels. I told him, I said, if you do this, you're taking what was not offered, you're taking what was not for sale, and you're taking what does not belong to you, and you are stealing that which is not yours. And so anyway, put that out there. I mean, and I'm excited. It's the year of Shemitah. I said, you need to let me go. This is a Shemitah year. I need a sabbatical. I'm 60 years old. I've been doing this for 15 years. I need a break. I need to do some more important things. And you need to let me go. So I guess he's let me go. And that's fine. I'm excited. I'm excited about it. This whole thing came about, one of the things came about was because, and this is in my book, I believe, one day at work, I was working at a metal shop, and all day long, I mean, I've probably said this 1,000 times, it was just weird, one of the weirdest days of my life. Deliver me from the hand of the Midianite. I said that as many times as you could say that in like an 8 to 10 hour shift. I said that. Deliver me from the hand of the Midianite. Deliver me from the hand of the Midianite. Deliver me from the hand of the Midianite. And at 2:45, everybody come in the office, they fired me. I was fired. And so, that is weird. How could that? Turn that thing off. Hang on. Sorry. My phone is dying. Oh, come on. And so I was fired. And the answer, that was at Passover. And at Pentecost, everything, if you're not observing feast days, get with the program. I mean, $1 million answer for my life came to me, and that was live in a home that's paid for. Do not live anywhere where you have debt. And if everybody would do that in this country, build your own house. Live in it. Buy a van. Live in it. Buy an RV. Live in it. Buy a cabin. Live in it. Build a cabin. Whatever. Do whatever you got to do, but live in a house that's debt-free. Don't pay nobody money. A mortgage is death pledge. And it's basically they're gambling that they're going to own that thing before you do, and before you die. So, and nine times out of 10, that's about what happens in this country. The state taxes and 50%, and the kids re-inherit it and they dump it. That's how we got this house, repo, not a repo. A couple died, and then the people from California inherited it. They sold it to the first person that said, "Hey, yeah, owner finance." Oh yeah, sure, owner finance. Well, they bellied up and stole the home that they lived in here, the mobile home. The front of the house was torn off. It was a garage, and we rebuilt it and moved in and tripled, quadrupled, whatever the value of the property. So anyway, farm in Missouri, here, 10 acres, $20,000, $2,000 an acre, with a house, with a well, with roads, with power, with phone, with fencing, with shed, with a corral, a stable, and 2 ponds, 2 little spring-fed ponds, and a spring, and basically 3 creeks running through it. 3 little creeks running down to the 1 creek going out of it. Anyway, okay, so put it out to the universe. Shemitah. And I've told him, I said, if you do not release me but continue, paid sabbatical, hey, or just give me buy me out a couple $1 million. But if you do not shemitah me and deal correctly and righteously and justly with me, at the end of this month, I am going to shemitah him. I believe the Lord will release him and allow him to fall and collapse. The word shemitah either means, it can mean lift up, but it means release. And either you let go debt, you forgive people that that owe you anything, or that have anything, that they've done anything to you, or God releases you to judgment. Okay, that's what's happening this month, this year. And oddly enough, this month is the mid of the Shemitah year. And things happen on the mid-year, and I expect this month something to happen on the mid part of the Shemitah year. And I think it's March 15th or so, which is when I'm supposed to get my check. So if I don't, another 10 days. Originally it was 5 days, the 20th was the agreement. So if I don't have a check in my hand for about twice as much as I normally got, then Shemitah, buddy, Shemitah. So anyway, I got to get rolling here because we got a dance to go to, with some interesting people. Oh, a gal moved here. I think she bought a farm today, 10-acre farm, a couple miles away. Pretty little daughter. And my son told the daughter about the dance. This is going to be a very interesting night. Yeah. Anyway. All right. And the radiation frequency, 3 frequencies throughout the universe. That's what I got on the tuning element thing. My invention, my business. I built it. All right. He says, Michael Ayler says, they are created or evolved. We're created or evolved to absorb these frequencies, but the human body is meant to absorb those, and so when you're living in a metal building, you're prevented from that. Ground it. Ground that building if you're living in a metal building, but then you're right target for a tornado. Tornadoes eat electricity for living. Tornadoes are electrical sheath vortex plasma discharges, and that's why they chew up mobile home parks. And look at the thing, Stormy versus the tornado. Yeah, really funny story. Stormy builds a pyramid, and there's no tornadoes in the whole country for decades. Anyway, tornadoes eat electricity. That's why they flipped tombstones in Stockton in 2003. I went, why metal? Or why tombstones are not metal? And oh yeah, the caskets are metal. Oh, it was a feeding frenzy from hell. All right, that's not a big deal. You're prevented from doing that, and that's not that big of a deal. It may be. It may not be, I don't know, but it's an interesting thought. So that was one of my first inklings of the whole exposure to Earth's human resonances. A Faraday box is something that was discovered and built for a very specific reason, to prevent frequencies from penetrating. The big difference is the Davis Caves home costs 20% more than a conventional home. That's very expensive. Mike Ayler's homes, on the other hand, are just as good, if not better, he contends. They are far more aesthetically pleasing to the psyche, to the mind, the emotions, because he has a lot more balance in the getting of air, light, and view into the home from different points. He demands air, light, and view from all points of the compass in his homes. So let's say we use his method. You dig a hole in the ground, you put a post in. This is the corner, and also about every 6 feet, I think he does. So to prevent deterioration of that post, you could go with very expensive lumber that is treated. You could use that lumber if you wanted. It's treated with chemicals that may outgas. I don't know. Ayler's very cheap, very simple solution is to take rough-hewn timber out of the forest, you char it over a fire. That's going to prevent any bugs from getting in there. So you burn it. He tells you about 1/4 of an inch of charring on that thing as you turn it in the fire. Then you wrap it with garbage bags, 1, 2, 3, whatever. This has all been tested. He knows that it works. Then you put that in the ground and compact it in real good. Then you've got a vertical beam or post. Then from post to post, you put in whatever kind of wood you've got. This is shoring, which means a material that keeps dirt and rocks from caving in. So let's say you want to build a wall, you put shoring. This could be pallet slats, 4x8 sheets of plywood. It could be whatever material you have at hand there that is cheapest and easiest to go with. It could even be the mill end or rough cut from a sawmill. So you have shoring in. You have your shoring in. Then you're going to put in polyethylene for waterproofing. The polyethylene does not have to be UV grade, so it can be fairly inexpensive, $50. In other words, UV grade meaning greenhouse polyethylene, which is never going to see sunlight, so it's not going to get deteriorated by the sunlight. Just use regular black polyethylene. He'll usually put cardboard in there to protect the plastic as you put the dirt against it, and that can be upgraded. You could use 2 layers of polyethylene. The next thing would be a PSP or post-shoring polyethylene wall. Let's say around 60%. If it's a 20-foot wide, 30-foot long, you've got a 600 square foot building. With 100 linear feet of circumference to deal with, you're near 60%. So your rear 60% is post-shoring polyethylene, and it's earth sheltered. He has all kinds of other things that can be applied there. Then the front part that would be exposed would be a combination of the cordwood and using cob as mortar. Again, there's materials that are indigenous. They are there out front. The rule of thumb in alternative homes is look out the window. What do you see? Use it. They're handy. They're there. They're ready to go. No expense virtually. As far as the roof goes, you can do whatever. The roof would be earthen. These technologies have been used for some 30-some years, and again, polyethylene can be used. It does not have to be UV grade. Use straw or cardboard as a buffer when you go from one material to the next to protect the poly from your planks. If you have tar paper, then use some sand, the polyethylene, some straw. Tar paper, use some sand, polyethylene, some straw, 4 inches of dirt, another layer of polyethylene, 12 inches or 3 feet of dirt. Then seed it and plant it, and you can have a garden up there. So that gives you good thermal mass and protection from heat and cold as well as radiation. Like I said, Mike Ayler likes 3 to 4 feet of dirt. The earth, my home is insured. I have insurance. My home is covered with it, or whatever. The earth is my insurance. My home is covered with it. I like that saying. All right, this is Jerry Diamond. How to Get Out of Babylon. If you're listening to this, you are the remnant. Get here. Drive now or walk later. Goodbye.